Welcome, dear viewers, to another fresh episode of Soccer Stories. The 1966 World Cup was memorable in many ways as it was held in England, considered to be the home of football. But to begin with, it was marked with a controversy as African nations as a bloc decided to boycott the event, as the qualifying format still did not give nations from the once dark continent a guaranteed place in the final round. The stipulated rule was to engage in a playoff with the champions of the Asian leg, which again showed a definite bias to the emerging nations in the game. So, the qualification process shrunk to only 70 countries, a lower total than expected, before the 14 available slots were filled up. The host England awarded with the right to host the tournament in 1950 and Brazil as reigning champions being direct entrants. Finally, England, Uruguay, France and Mexico made up Group 1 in the preliminary stage, while West Germany, Switzerland, Argentina and Spain did make up Group 2. Brazil, only the second nation after Italy to have won back-to-back World Cup, was indeed drawn in the toughest of all first-round groups, its opponent in three being Bulgaria, Portugal and Hungary. The last group was made of the Soviet Union, Italy, Chile and North Korea, which as it were was to emerge as a surprise packet of the tournament, playing a game that really shocked the footballing tournament and in end leaving an indelible mark behind. The tournament, which got off on June 11, progressed mostly on predicted lines, but with the surprise that Brazil were ousted out in the group stage itself. It did win against Bulgaria in its opening encounter, but was hardly a match for either Portugal and Hungary. The side looked too weak on the field, and adding agony to its supporters was the scything attacks that were directed by the rival defenders against his star player, Pelé. Fearing injury, the Maestro remained sidelined for most of the matches before Brazil crashed out. Without Pelé, the side, though boasting the services of Garincha and several of its old war horses, the South Americans were really out of sorts before making an early exit. In Group 1, England, under its new manager Alf Ramsey, began with a dull, goalless draw against Uruguay before it gained strength to come out victorious against both Mexico and France. Uruguay was the second in the pool as it qualified to the quarterfinals. Group 2 saw the emergence of West Germany and Argentina into the round of last 8, while Hungary and Portugal made progress from Group 3 before being joined by the Soviet Union and North Korea from Group 4. England saw through Argentina in the first quarter-final, but its celebrations were completely marred by the nasty behavior of several of the South American players and its manager soon after halftime at the end of the match. The Soviets and the West Germans were fairly in control as they came past Uruguay and Hungary. But the best match of the sequence was the one between Portugal and North Korea. The wiry North Koreans did take the Portuguese by storm, and giving nothing away was up 3-0 within no time. It did take Eusebio and the rest of the Portugal team and some time to realize that the nemesis was staring at them before they got their act together. And what a match it turned out to be, as Eusebio, running right against the North Korean defense, almost single-handedly pulled off a brilliant 5-3 win to make the last four great. However, the Portuguese were unable to recreate the same magic against England, which cantered home through a brace scored by Bobby Charlton before Eusebio rifled one back of a penalty late into the second half. The Germany-Soviet Union semi-final was more of a war of attrition before the Germans, with young Franz Beckenbauer making his mark, coming through again by the odd goal in 3. Portugal was to claim the third place with a 2-1 win over the Soviet Union, as the stage was set for a final that all England was waiting for. England indeed did hold the home advantage in Wembley, but it was still a humdinger of a match as Helmut Haller crashed through the home team defense to give West Germany the lead in the 12th minute. This lasted only for 6 minutes though, as Joef Hurst, the ultimate hero in the end, brought parity for England, which later, into the 78th minute, also went one up through Martin Peters. The celebrations in the English camp were brought to a standstill as Wolfgang Weber made it 2-2 in favour of the Germans. Just a minute left for the final whistle. Pushed into extra time thus, it was Hurst show all through the remaining period as he scored twice to hand over England its only World Cup triumph to date. The first goal of the two produced a monumental controversy which, to say the least, remained unsolved even today. It was virtually a pile driver of a shot by Hurst as it hit the underside of the crossbar and rebounded according to the claims made by the Germans. However, this was fiercely contested by the English, who were vehement with their call that the ball bounced on the goal line or just over it. Luckily, their claim was upheld by the Russian linesman Bakramov in what remains the most contentious goal ever awarded in the World Cup. A minute later, Hurst was at it again, and this time it was all clear as he unleashed a powerful left footer to help England sail through to a famous and deserving 4-2 win, and in the process scoring a hat-trick in the World Cup final. Tears out of joy literally flowed in buckets as Bobby Moore, the successful captain, stepped forward to receive the coveted prize from one of the most ardent English supporters, Queen Elizabeth II. With this we conclude. Let's meet again in another episode of Soccer Stories. Until then, hasta la vista.